Hello everybody, Gerone Wright here again, and in this video I'm going to be discussing our world's global nuclear waste problem and disposal of same. When I'm paranormally drawn to anything through my paranormal experience and encounter, if it becomes a question in my mind through this dimensional link that I have with everything, it automatically becomes solved. And I've done examples of this in other videos. I've discussed how NASA could take care of the waste junk problem that we have in our solar system. As you are aware that there's like 60,000 pieces of space debris that is in orbit with our planet. I came up with the amazing idea of how a vessel could be created by Russia, by NASA, by China, and everybody else that is responsible for putting this space material in space. These vehicles, like space towing devices, and tow this space debris out of the orbit of our planet to the moon and drop it off and keep making successful flights until the space debris is taken out of our out of orbit with our world, and the people that is on the other side here in our world where we at will be taken out of danger of these objects falling back to Earth and causing devastation. All right, so that was one of my other amazing discoveries. Let's go with another here and show you. Our world has a growing nuclear waste problem. Currently, this nuclear waste is being dumped in oceans, and you can see diagrams of different areas that it is actually being dumped. I don't know if you can see that there, and it looks like I just saw something that was washed up, and they're dumping it in our ocean. Oh yeah, here it is here. Here's look like a canister that just washed up right there. Look at this, where there's a canister. You see those guys there? This is one of the canisters that done washed back up onto the beaches. In fact, there's another there where these canisters, the global villages septic tank they call it. But yeah, this stuff, this nuclear waste thing is a very serious problem, and people, they're dumping it and burying it just about everywhere here in the world. And through my paranormal experience and encounter, I can solve this problem, our world's problem, with this. And let me just go back to images here, and here's another. Let me show you these. Look at this, people. This is nuclear waste being disposed of through a burial process. Okay, they even have it placed in abandoned, I believe, abandoned salt mines and everything else there. And let me see. I saw one image where they were burying it in like an abandoned salt mine or so. Radioactive waste storage in Germany. This is radioactive waste storage there in Germany, and they're putting it down in these abandoned mines and everything else. Very serious problem here, people, that we're having. And if you Google nuclear waste and go on images, you will see pretty much the same reality behind our growing nuclear waste disposal problem. Okay, I'm going to solve it, and it's going to be quite simple. Not for the average mind to solve, but through my paranormal ability, I can tell you how this problem can be solved. And then after you think about it, you'll be like, wow, that was simple. You know what I mean? But yet we have some of the best minds in our world that is working on this problem, and none of them, and I'm talking about scientists of the highest levels, scientists of the lower levels, and then just laypersons, people trying to solve this problem. And here I am claiming to be paranormally linked to everything, have 300 plus videos here, and I can continue to solve world problems like this, global problems like this. So I'm going to, with no further ado, let me tell you where we can get rid of this nuclear waste. This nuclear waste can be incinerated through a natural incinerator in our world. And this is where it can go. In small doses, in small amounts, controlled amounts, nuclear waste can be flown over live volcanic areas in our world and dropped in. Not just in open, like a container sense. I'm talking about in special containers that would cause it to countersink down at least a quarter mile before the container that it is in will disintegrate. By it being able to go down so far, this not only ensures that the nuclear waste is being disposed of and incinerated, it means that all of its harmful release gases will be captured as well and dissolved in that of this volcanic activity. Now, how do you get something like that to actually happen? Let me I'm thinking of a canister. Let me get an example. Hold on. I'm thinking of a thickened, almost like a burn-proof canister. Our best canisters that we have in our world. Let's just look at this as being, this is a flask here. Let's look at this as a metallic object, and let's just say that this is the best metal that we have that will allow this to be countersunk into this volcanic mass. Let's say a quarter of a mile before it actually starts to burn or dissolve. Okay, here's our nuclear waste, which is inside of that. I'm also stating that this canister and this nuclear waste be filled with a liquid-like material, which actually causes for the heat to cause it to retard the heat from actually dissolving this metal cylinder prior to it actually getting to its destination, its pre-sunk destination, before the nuclear chemistry, which is inside, dissolves down into the volcanic matter. Now, pretty amazing, isn't it, people, that I can come up with something like this? I'm not a scientist. Didn't give a damn about science until I actually became paranormally linked to all of everything that is in existence. But could you imagine, off in some desolated place on an island where this is actually taking place, you do this, and this solves our nuclear waste problem here in our world. Okay? Now, these islands, also these emissions on these volcanic locations are already emitting harmful noxious gas that mankind cannot deal with anyway. So dumping our world's nuclear waste inside of these locations, as opposed to dumping them in our oceanic seas where we have to eat from and survive from, and then burying them where they can also be leaked back into the into our world. It would be better to know that they're being properly incinerated inside of our world's natural resource, the best incinerator in our world. Now, these volcanoes are also joined by fissures. There are fissures all across our globe, globally. Again, these fissures have a natural high heat source where low amounts of radioactive material, nuclear waste, can be dropped in and disposed of easily without no harm being done to mankind as it is, or with no future. You don't have to worry about, there's no future disruption of this nuclear waste. You don't have to worry about our oceans, the salt waters of our oceans, eating away at the canisters of these burial substance that where they're using it, there don't be nuclear waste in our oceans. You don't have to worry about the ocean, the salt waters dissolving the canisters, and thereby what's happening is this oceanic stuff becomes this nuclear waste becomes a problem with not just our food, but with being reintroduced into our world, okay, through one way or another, or with the burial process of it being coming up or brought back up to the surface, or being dissolved by erosion and corrosion in the soils. You see what I'm saying, people? It is disposed of naturally. And how would you get it there? There's a few ways of doing such. I imagine flying over there with a helicopter or with a bomber for whatever they feel fit, and just simply just drop it off in there. Ramps can be built to this, rolling ramps, to where it can be rolled down a ramp into these cracks and crevices in our planet, these natural cracks and crevices on our planet. You see what I'm saying, people? You have people here walking right up to a fissure. There, you see that there? What I'm stating is that ramps can be built to this, or just fly it in a helicopter and drop it off point blank. This is a more logical way to dispose of this nuclear waste rather than to the unconventional, the conventional ways that they have, scientists, has the best minds in our world, should I say, have developed in getting rid of it. How many minutes do I have? 12 minutes still? So people, I give you a gift from me to you, a way to safely discard of our world's nuclear waste without there being no dangers brought to the living of our world. My name is Gerone Wright. I'm going to end that video there, and I'll put a little bit more in writing, and I'm going to close this video out. Thank you. Hello everybody, Gerone Wright here again, and in this video I'm going to be discussing our world's global nuclear waste problem and disposal of same. When I'm paranormally drawn to anything through my paranormal that is in orbit with our planet, I came up with the amazing idea of how a vessel could be created by Russia, by NASA, by China, and everybody else that is responsible for putting this space material in space. These examples of this in other videos. I've discussed how NASA could take care of the waste junk problem that we have in our solar system. As you are aware that there's like 60,000 pieces of space debris experience and encounter. If it becomes a question in my mind through this dimensional link that I have with everything, it automatically becomes solved. And I've done examples, vehicles like space towing devices, and tow this space debris out of the orbit of our planet to the moon and drop it off and keep making successful flights until the space debris is taken out of our out of orbit